Y'all don't really care about that. Y'all here to hear about, I guess, the furious anger that Rich had, given that he made a diss record that wasn't a diss record at the person that did the thing that pissed him off. He, for those that aren't aware, don't really watch basketball. A basketball player named Bam Adebayo, and that sounds really dismissive saying this. A basketball player named Bam Adebayo, as if like if you watch basketball, you know who the fuck he is. He's been the second best player on 2 finals teams, but whatever. Bam Adebayo, multiple-time All-Star, had one of the most shocking scoring outbursts in NBA history. Actually, I gotta take that back. The most shocking in NBA history. He scored the second most points ever in an NBA game. He scored 83 points. The news for most of it is that he passed number 2 at the time, which was Kobe Bryant, which had been there for 20 years. I think maybe, back in January, me and Rich did a segment on One Nation Radio about kind of setting a place for where we were in time when it happened, because it was such a monumental occasion in that era. It was an impossible concept that someone could score 80 points, and he did it. And for me, that will always be there. My memories are not changed or tarnished or tainted or eclipsed by Bam Adebayo doing this, because I'm aware of the era of change in the NBA. I believe when we talked about this, I was saying it was the most impressive scoring outbreak ever in a single game because of the fact that Kobe was getting these shots from where he was getting it from. These were a lot of 3-pointers, a lot of contested 2s from the mid-range, and an overall display of just NBA jam. He's on fire, especially in the second half, to end up with those 81 points. To be at a situation where I believe they were losing in the fourth quarter, and by the end of the game, they had like a 14-point lead or something, and I think they pulled Kobe out with a couple minutes left. It was the most shocking thing. Like, back in this time, this happened on the same Sunday as the AFC and NFC championship games for football, the Final Four of the NFL season. And that was the story for basically all of the sports world on ESPN and sports radio, was the A block. They talked about that for a full week. I was there. I lived it. I watched all of it. PTI, Around the Horn, Sports Center, any vertical ESPN property was covering Kobe for a week. A Media Instant Classic, Hardwood Classic, played on ESPN Classic, played it on NBA TV. All the times people could watch it. It was a regular on NBA TV to watch it over the years, to see it. It would play that game just at some point during the year. So for me, that is a memory that we baked into my brain, and is something I will always think of when it comes to Kobe. And for me, Bam Adebayo scoring 83 does not change that. In fact, I am impressed in that way, because Bam Adebayo is not the player that has outbreaks like this. I believe his previous career high was 40, in the low 40s. This is somebody that I never would have expected would have scored 50 in an NBA game. And then he fucks around and scores 83. So watching or hearing about it, I was not watching that game. I was watching somebody play through Resident Evil 9. And then I started getting messages from a group chat that has Rich in it. And by that point in time, I'm reading through it, and it says Bam has 70 or 60, 70. Oh my God, he's approaching 80. This is bullshit. This is a group chat that includes Lakers fans besides just Rich. And then it says he passed Kobe's 81. And I was just like, nah. I understand they're saying this. This ain't April 1st, but I don't believe this. And I go to Twitter, which is saying something given what Twitter is now, looking for verification from ESPN's account or NBA's account or the Miami Heat's account, and I can't find it. I keep seeing numbers that are in the 70s or he's at 80, but I need to see verification that he actually passed 81. I need to see it. And then eventually, after scrolling, maybe like 4 or 5 times, I see 83, and then it's just shocking. I can't believe it. And then what happens is, because I had been away from my phone, I then look at Twitter, which is the negative hellscape that we know, and it is immediately, this is bullshit. This is a fraudulent number. He took 40 something, I think 43 free throws. This is bullshit. This is gambling. This is all sorts of things, that then all the way up to the most conspiratorial thing, which is that the NBA, I believe it is correct. Ice Cube, Lil Cube, the WWE extreme identifier or identity extremist, he goes on to say that he believes that Bam breaks the streak and it has something to do with LeBron in erasing Kobe's legacy. And I'm like, so LeBron's career high is 61. You think LeBron wanted someone to break, or I can't say break because it's not the record, but wants to break number 2, get number 2, which would then put someone at 83, which then means someone scored 22 more points, more than LeBron in a game, and it's Bam Adebayo. He's never played with Bam Adebayo except for Team USA basketball. Maybe he played with him in a couple All-Star games. It's a real reach. It's real CTE. It's real SEC fandom message board. And then it reminds me, oh yeah, that's right. The Lakers and the Lakers fandom at its hardcore. There are plenty of great Lakers fans. Twitter makes it seem as though it's not, and this week definitely made it seem like that. But I will tell you this: there are great Lakers fans that are prideful and love the purple and gold, and love LA and all that kind of stuff. And it's a worldwide brand. It's the New York Yankees of basketball. It's the Dallas Cowboys of basketball. It's Real Madrid. It's all that shit for the NBA. And I forgot that, including that, they have the biggest and nastiest online presence when it comes to jealousy, conspiratorial nonsense, shit that don't make no sense, but they get it off. And it's very similar to, if you watch pro wrestling, if you're listening to the show, it's very similar to the WWE people that don't want AEW to exist. It's very much the sport kind of bends towards us, or this entertainment medium bends towards us, and we've had a privileged life at every step. And when we get the slightest bit of anything that doesn't go our way, which I don't know how this doesn't go their way, Kobe still scored 81 fucking points in a game, it turns into all the world is against us. And gotta be honest, in the last 5 years, I actually believe the NBA is against the Lakers. Actually more than 5 years, probably the last decade or so. We'll take it back. 2012, the Chris Paul trade is when I was like, okay. And then the new ownership with all the other owners leads to a lot of them, I believe, playing, what do you call it? Private equity games, at the expense of what historically happens in the NBA, which tends to be like, players, teams, networks have always, and the location have always benefited the Lakers. And basically, it seems like over the last 15 years or plus or whatever else, the league has done everything they can to fuck over the Lakers in ways that are behind the scenes. But people are saying this about Bam Adebayo getting 43 free throws. And granted, no one ever gets that number of free throws unless they're a shitty free throw shooter. Bam happens to not be a shitty free throw shooter, so it rings alarm bells. But the problem is, once you see the highlight reels, the extended highlight clips of this basically G League level team, minor league level team of the Wizards, where they have made these trades to acquire, in a really bad season, to acquire Anthony Davis, acquire Trae Young, and basically sit both of them so they can tank and also get their pick in this upcoming draft that's loaded, and then the next year's draft isn't worth a damn. So you have this weird situation where this league is in this weird spot where literally 10 of the 30 teams are trying to tank to get draft positions or keep their draft pick in this loaded draft because they know next year's draft, if they stink, they ain't finna get shit because next year's draft stinks. And there are legitimately 3-4 potential franchise changing players in this upcoming draft. So everybody's holding on to their lotto tickets at all costs, and they are doing unethical things to the nastiest degree, the most shameful degree it's ever been done, even though it's always been done in the league. But now it's flat out Tankathon. It is Master P, make him say on the basketball court in the music video with the gold tank behind him. It's that level of tank. It's a real life tank going on. So the Wizards are pathetic. They're out there against the Miami Heat, who have been on a great run of late. I think they've won something like 5 of 7 or maybe 6 of 6 or something like that now lately. They have pulled themselves out of what they've been in, stuck in this play-in hell, and they're now a top 6 seed in the East. And they're doing it right now without Tyler Hero playing, without Nikola Jovic, not Jokic, Jovic. They have a young guy named Jovic. And also without Norman Powell. Like 2 other guys that could also make an all-star team potentially, or all-star level talent, are not playing. The ball is getting funneled to Bam Adebayo, and Bam Adebayo is going nuts. He knocked down like what seemed like 4 threes in the first quarter, which opened up the game. And then you look at the Wizards lineup after Alex Sarr. Nobody else on that team is even a big wing. Everybody else is a skinny 6'8" person or shorter. So Bam is getting by Alex Sarr after he's opened up the floor with the white hot shooting, and then he gets downhill and does whatever he wants. And Alex Sarr can't do nothing. And once he's by Alex Sarr, there's no rim protection. And Bam's big, so he just go up there, dunk, go up there, lay it up. And the only hope they have is to foul him with these small guys, and he's getting to the rim, getting and ones, and what have you. And it's shocking watching the highlights. It's one thing to see the number and then see the foul shots and say this is bullshit. But for 3 quarters in 2 minutes, so for, of the 48 minutes of 80 or 38 minutes of it, Bam's going nuts in the way that you see scoring outbreaks done historically. He's going all time. And then the Wizards get tired of getting destroyed, and they start throwing double teams at Bam. And then the double teams don't even work. And as they're double teaming, they're fouling him. And they're legitimate fouls, so he goes to the line, he's knocking down free throws. And then by the time he gets to like around 70 points, 73 points, something like that, that's when the Miami Heat look up and say, he has a chance to get to 81. And then the Miami Heat coaching staff and team that are pumping the ball to him, happy about this guy that is the captain of this team, they start pumping him the ball. They start doing flat out unethical things to get more possessions, to get him the ball. They start fouling while they're up big at the end of this game to get more possessions for Bam, and they're throwing him the ball against triple teams, turning triple teams. And the sorry ass Wizards against triple teams can't, one, stop the ball from getting into Bam's hands, can't get him to come off the ball without fouling him, which sends him to the line even more. And then what would have probably been like a 77-point game, 75-point game, between the sorry ass Wizards coaching staff, and Spoelstra and the rest of the coaching staff from Miami grifting to inflate the number, somehow gets past Kobe. So, a part of the outrage is, a big part of it is, and people aren't talking about this, I don't think, is the NBA is very online. And by saying that, it means people that watch League Pass start tweeting, start messaging, and start saying, hey, Bam has 31 points in the first quarter. Bro, he has damn near 50 at halftime. Bro, he has 62 or 63 at the end of the third quarter. And then people tune in from there after being notified that somebody's going all-time historic at that time. And then when they finally get around to tuning in to watch the game, they see the end of it and they assume that was the entire game and immediately dismiss it. Now, as I said earlier, with me, Bam scoring 83 does not change what I think of Kobe's 81. But when it comes to the sicko Lakers fans, the sicko Kobe fans, the fans that will go and whack LeBron James's mural as he becomes a Laker and someone puts it up to ingratiate the city to a all-time great player deciding to come try to save the franchise, because apparently that's like that particular wall is like cheating on Kobe. I don't know what went through that person's mind, but obviously really talented people, when you whack out a mural, you tag and demolish somebody's graffiti mural, somebody just comes right back and fixes it, right? A lot of talented street artists. Anyway, but that is what we're dealing with. And when people don't think about it that way, but like that ain't too many steps away from poisoning trees. Like the nastiest parts of Lakers fandom looks a lot like SEC fandom, where it's like, yo, these people need to chill. And the problem is, you tell them to chill, they want to fight. And because they've been fighting their whole lives, and especially in relation to Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant is probably the first athlete for me that I saw their entire career from start to finish, of an all-time great player in any sport, really, where I can say I was there from the beginning, the shows of the flashes of promise, the failures, the air balls, the becoming an all-star, the becoming one of the best players in the world, becoming the best player in the world, becoming a living legend. And a good chunk of that for a lot of the people that had that fight for him and his place in history, from all those moments I just mentioned to today, is what makes his legacy unique is the 81. This is a person that gets dismissed historically because people just immediately say, oh, lesser Jordan clone. And granted, being a lesser Jordan clone ain't no slight. That's still one of the 10 greatest basketball players of all time. But you got to understand, this is a dude that won 5 championships. There's an argument he should have 2 MVPs. He only got 1, which leads to historical disrespect that his fandom has about this stuff and how it worked out. And then as somebody, 7 years or so younger, was clearly on trajectory to pass him, given that LeBron was better than him at every age going forward, there was always this, he's a living legend, he's the best in the world, and he's still in his prime, but there's somebody that's younger that shouldn't be in their prime, and they're taking it from him. And it was hard adjustment. Around 2000, when 2009 was going on, I was flat out telling, after 2008, what happened with the Lakers losing that finals, going and losing the 6, getting embarrassed, and LeBron with a lesser supporting cast taking that same team, the Celtics that beat that Lakers team, to 7. And then the next year he got better. It was like, okay, I thought Kobe Bryant was the best basketball player in the world from 2002 or three to 2008. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think LeBron has the belt in the middle of this season. And as a person around Rich and other Lakers fans, Kobe fans, I was getting a lot of shit about it until it kept going in the rest of the run until Kobe retired, or actually when he tore his Achilles. That was the end of it, really. There was no real argument after that. The argument went from where he stands as far as who has the belt to who's better historically. And it was just like, it was only a matter of time for LeBron to pass him because the dude was a goddamn tank. There was a difference. But that's neither here nor there. We're talking about a guy that's the second greatest basketball player of all time, and in some people's argument, the best basketball player of all time, to most people's eyes, compared to a guy that had a really weird mix in, I would say the word would be, there's a lot of vacillation. He's very polarizing as far as where he ranks historically. There are people that have him out that's top 10, which I think he's closer to fucking 1 than 10. Give me a goddamn break. And then there's people that have him at 1. I'm like, I probably put him somewhere around the 5 to 8, whatever else. But people grew up watching him, and I was one of the people that watched him, so I get it. Outside of LeBron, there's no other athlete I've seen play more games than Kobe, right? And as a person that was real close to becoming a Lakers fan, but ultimately didn't, because I was like, hey, this is a players' league. I fuck around. If I was going to follow a player to become an NBA fan in the way I did with the Vikings, I'd be a Chicago Bulls fan. Think how miserable that's been most of the last 26 years, 28 years. So, I was a person that was here in Florida fighting the fight for Kobe. So, when it was, is it T-Mac or Kobe, or is it Vince or Kobe? It's obviously Kobe. It was like, no, man, it's Kobe. Y'all crazy. Like, y'all gotta get outside yourselves. And I understand that, like, we're right next to Orlando. We see all the games on local TV. I watch the same games you do. My grandma loved T-Mac. My grandma was a diehard Orlando Magic fan. It was Kobe. So for me, it was easier to see how all this stuff was going and all this stuff around Kobe. And I've been a part of fighting for Kobe Bryant's legacy when I felt he wasn't given his due. And then on the other end, while I felt I was giving his due historically, to my friends that were Lakers fans, they felt I wasn't giving them enough. And they aren't as crazy as other people you see online. And they are online, and this is a part they're fighting for. What made the biggest unique thing Kobe had in his legacy is he has 81. Michael Jordan ain't got 81. LeBron ain't got 81. Steph Curry ain't got 81. Tim Duncan ain't got 81. Shaq ain't got 81. It was 81. The thing that I think is getting lost historically in this about the 81 was it wasn't just 81. He scored 60, I think it's 62 against the Dallas Mavs, the team that represented the Western Conference in the finals that year. He scored 62 points on them in 3 quarters and was kicked. And I believe the score was Kobe had 62 and the Mavs had like 61. He sat because he was ahead. And at that point in time, this was in a run where Kobe was having the greatest scoring point per game season the NBA had seen since Jordan in the late 80s. We never thought we were going to see someone average 35, 36 points a game ever again. And he was doing it in this terrible era to score in, where there was no spacing, no advantage for guards to do this kind of stuff. And he was doing it. And he was doing it after he had probably the worst year of his prime because he missed the playoffs the year before. It was revenge season. I'll never forget that. Like, All the talk about Kobe Bryant from '01 Kobe in the playoffs or '09, 2010 Kobe, 2006 Kobe is the best year of Kobe Bryant we've ever seen. Or I've ever seen. And it wasn't just 81. It was this dude got pulled out of a game where he had 62, and we'll never know if he could have gotten 81 earlier. We'll never know any of them other nights where he got pulled out, what he could have done. It was the part where he was unstoppable, and you never knew what you were going to wake up to and see on ESPN the next night. I'm never going to forget a day in my life. Unless I get dementia and lose my memory, I will die just being like, Kobe Bryant did what I thought was impossible and was doing it with regularity in 2006, particularly January 2006. And I'll never forget it. I don't give a damn if someone scores 100. So for me, I don't get that. And maybe it's a part where, not everybody's my age. A lot of people are younger. I'm 38 now. A lot of people, they weren't around. They don't have full context of this stuff in real time. And a lot of people also forget what I just said about he averaged fucking 40 for a whole month. So I think what's happening is people are doing this coat protection thing to preserve his legacy now. And I'm like, if 81 was the only thing in his legacy, he ain't got much of a legacy. Because Bam has 83. Whose legacy would you rather have? Would you even consider what Bam's career has been to be considered compared to other NBA contemporaries and Hall of Famers and All-Stars and all-timers as a legacy? Or would you just say it's a great career? So that's the thing that for me is what I'm thinking about all this. But seeing the online people losing their minds about it, mischaracterizing what happened from the vast majority of the game, dismissing it as, they're wiping their ass with the thing. And it's like, all right, man, if this era is so easy to play ball in, where is everybody else's 83-point game? Because Bam scored 83 points, and he is not a top 20 scorer in this league. Where was Kevin Durant's 83 points? Where was Steph Curry's 83 points? I get it. You guys, it's Twitter, it's the online space. There's not much room for nuance or try to get off whatever your point. But you ain't got to be nasty at the dude as if he did something wrong. We've seen people gun for numbers in all sports. I believe the tagline for that is chasing greatness. There's going to be an unethical ball to get to whatever else. And I honestly feel that if it wasn't 81 points, if it had been just 80 points, people wouldn't have acted like this. But once you surpass it, it turns into what I've seen online the last few days. And quite frankly, I didn't want to do this damn show solo. This is much more entertaining if Rich had been here. Rich made a damn diss track. And I think I like that he didn't have smoke for Bam. I like that he pointed out all of the weird factors that I just mentioned of how we got here to this point that made it fascinating and also shameful for the league in that way that the Wizards are ass. And they were put in a position where a guy that is a two-way defend first guy goes off and almost doubles his career high. So yeah, man, for me, I'm not about to diminish what Bam did outside of saying, hey, I was there. This ain't what the Kobe thing was. And also there wasn't no, shenanigans at the end of the game with the Kobe thing. And I'll also say, it was shocking. Because once you put on the highlight reel and you watch what happens, it looks like somebody's going all time. And for the people that watched the whole game or tuned in after Bam had 31, which is a top 10 output for any quarter in an NBA game, and watched most of it and saw an all-time performance, an all-time night, I think your opinion is going to be different than the people that are checking the box score, looking at Twitter, which is a cesspool for dismissing anything any player does at this point. So, yeah, I just find it all fascinating, and I think, like, there are roadmaps, or sorry, there are X's on the road between, we know that this isn't, like, more impressive than the Kobe 81, and fuck Bam, fuck the Heat, fuck the Wizards, fuck this league, I hate basketball now. Or this is another example of, you know, Silver's NBA and they want to round them up now. It's really weird that we talk like this. And I was talking to Rich and my cousin Alex, another Lakers fan, about how the times have changed as far as when it comes to online discourse when someone has a great performance. It used to be someone scores 60, you say, damn, how did that happen? You look it up and you like, you know, then you talk about it for a few days. And it kind of all turned around the time Luka got his 70, I think 73. That's when people were like, yo, this isn't a legitimate 73 points. And it's like, that's the most legitimate 73 points we've seen since Kobe, probably. Like, no one had a problem with Dame doing it because Dame is Dame. Dame's a Hall of Famer, right? I think Dame made the 75 team. Yeah, he made the 75 team, right? I think the thing with Booker was like, Booker's the one that's actually this weird because they were getting their ass blown out and he's scoring all these points. And he was super young. We didn't know he's going to become Devin Booker, one of the best players of this generation, of this era of basketball, of the last 10 years. So yeah, I just find it all fascinating and part disheartening, and like, why can't we get to a being a less hyperbolic? But that's not what the timeline for. That ain't gonna get you likes. That ain't gonna get you clicks. I get it, but that ain't gotta be how the people that get paid to cover this sport responsibly act. Like, we ain't gotta be first take, you know. But yeah, so I guess I'm done. It's 35 minutes talking about Bam and Kobe, which is longer than I thought we were going to go, but here we are. Shit, Rich might come. Rich might come back next week and want to talk about his part more than just the disc record. But